Well, hello. This is Rochelle, and welcome to my channel. If you hear something that sounds like weather, it probably is. Weird is time, but we're having some thunderstorms. So I have been following Emma J or MJ, I think I'm not sure, but I will link her down below. And I also showed you a few of the recreations I did of her pieces on my Instagram and my Facebook. I am loving learning watercolor paint via these tutorials on YouTube. And that's what I want to encourage you to do, is to learn by creating. So a lot of these things I do, and then it's not perfect first time. It's practice, 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 practice. And so one thing I learned the hard way with this specific, I don't know, we call them desert roses. So yeah, it's a succulent, and it needs very little water, and it's something Rochelle can keep alive. I have a hard time. I'm not a green, I don't have a green finger. I don't like gardening. It doesn't bring me the same joy and peace that it brings my mother. She loves gardening, and she's got a beautiful garden. For me, I don't know the difference between a weed and a plant. And so something I thought that was beautifully flowering in my garden was actually a weed, which my friend pointed out to me. But anyways, so that's the reality of my life. I don't like gardening. I can hardly keep anything alive, but succulents. I can keep succulents alive because it needs very little, if any, attention. And so she painted this desert rose in a tutorial on her YouTube channel, and I recreated it on watercolor paper, which was great. I used the Koi Sakura paints and the Faber-Castell fine art brushes, and loved every minute of it. And then I thought, wouldn't it be grand to recreate it in my Bible? And in my normal journaling Bible, I have had no issues with watercolor. It doesn't bleed through, it's just perfect. You don't need gesso for it. And so my good friend Andre Erasmus has taught me that you shouldn't watercolor over gesso. Just because gesso creates a barrier, so it makes the watercolor kind of pool on top, because the surface is non-porous, so the color can't seep into the paper or bleed or blend, because it's just like sitting on top of plastic kind of thing. So I have never had an issue with that. I found that it was fine, didn't mind it at all. However, this illustrating Bible, there really is only one thing that I have against it, and it's the fact that it does not handle water well at all. So it just didn't look the same as my little playing on the watercolor paper. It was a whole different ball game, and I couldn't get it to blend, and it didn't bleed. So with the watercolor paper, you use the wet on wet technique. You kind of wet the specific, I don't know if you want to call it a leaf or a petal. You kind of wet it with a color wash, a very soft color wash, and then intensify the color by dropping more pigment into it than water in the areas that you want it to bleed out. So your shady areas, the areas just underneath the previous or the top leaf, things like that. But then in this instance, like I said, just didn't want to work. So let's make it about what it really should be. In the Bible, we are journaling Psalm 63 verse 1, and I've been thinking about this so much, especially while recreating these desert roses. And even though they're very easy to grow, they do still need water. Even if it is just a little bit of water, it still needs water. And then it has these beautiful colors almost to it when it does get water and it gets the amount of attention that it needs, which even is just a little. It doesn't need to be a lot. So really, I want to encourage you to, like Psalm 63 verse 1 says, to understand that you need to be thirsting for God. That, like with the Creative Retreat Kit for March, speaking about living water, you can so easily thirst, and there's this thirst that can't be quenched by anything but the Holy Spirit, but pure living water. And so I use that same color paint of these Koi Sakura paints to kind of hand letter out or brush letter out, I thirst for you. In the little Dala watercolor paint booklet I have there, I wrote, we thirst, or my soul thirsts for you, which is in another translation. But this ESV translation specifically speaks, or CSB, sorry, Christian Standard Bible, I think, is what the Illustrating Bible is in. It specifically says, I thirst for you. There's that thirst that cannot be filled or quenched by anything other than God. I heard it said that there's a God-shaped hole inside my heart, and that really is what it was about. And so I loved spending the time with God in the creating of this page, just understanding that I need God more than what I need anything else, more than I actually need. My body needs water and food. I need God in my spirit. My soul thirsts for you, God. I thirst for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.